Are you seeking a better way to accelerate your sales, to scale your business, to live a life with no limits? Accelerate Sales Podcast features global experts who have cracked the code to recurring revenues with proven sales systems and get you on the fast track to scaling. Now let's accelerate your sales with today's episode.
Welcome to the Accelerate Sales Podcast. You're going to learn three things today. One is how to get a 330 to 300% increase in your sales by using personalized video. The second is, most importantly, where to use video and also what videos to send in your sales funnel. And the third is, how do you use analytics to improve your sales follow-up, which ultimately improves your conversion. If you're a first-time listener, or as I should say, viewer, welcome. And if you love what you see or hear, please subscribe. If you're a regular, always welcome those reviews on whatever platform you're watching or listening to. Please take notes, but we'll have a summary of the notes that our guest gives. And also, if you go to paulhigginsmentoring.com, you can go and get the full transcript of the episode. It's episode number, let me look at this, 383. And I'll look down from time to time just because I'm taking notes to get the best for you guys. So today's guest is passionate about B2B marketing and connecting with new people. In 2019, her and her co-founder launched a product to help sales teams to connect to customers using personalized video, both in email and in particular what I've been using is the social media, in particular LinkedIn. She feels very lucky that she's been through some amazing venture and accelerators, including Venture for America, 500 startups, On Deck, Stage 2 Accelerator, just to name a few. And they've really helped her to grow a business, an amazing product that it is today. And the product Sendspark now has over 10,000 users and includes people from Salesforce, Outreach, LinkedIn, Snowflake, ZipRecruiter, Microsoft, just to name a few. And it's ranked number 1 by G2 for video email implementation because of ease of use results. And to be honest, it's a product that I love. And after this interview, you'll see the reasons why. So what I'll do now is hand you over to Bethany Stachenfeld from Sendspark. Welcome, Bethany. So great to have you here.
Thanks for having me here.
Yeah, I'm excited because I've been using your product for a while and in preparation. Well, to be honest, it was in preparation for this podcast, but I've fallen in love so much, I'm using it every day. So we'll talk more about that. And I did introduce it to everyone listening and watching beforehand. But why don't we start with your definition of, who's your ideal client? Who gets the most value out of Sendspark?
Yeah, so we usually work with sales teams and people who are sending a lot of emails that are trying to build relationships with new customers. So whether that's prospecting or more of like onboarding or just having good client relationships, we're focused on people who are trying to like convey who they are and build relationships over email.
Yeah, great. And what sort of problems are you helping them solve?
And the main thing is it's just really hard, especially in today's like virtual world, to build a real relationship online. And when you're sending out a lot of emails for outreach, it's just really hard to not sound like everyone else. So with Sendspark, we make it really easy to create video messages. So you're able to be more yourself forward without even trying. The main use case is really sales outreach or customer onboarding or just any kind of customer video communication.
Great. And look, for me, how I use it, so I've got a couple of platforms that I use for video. So I've got a cloud app that I use for quick videos when I want to record a screen to my team predominantly. And then I've got ScreenFlow that I do my full video editing in. But I wanted something that was really simple to send emails in LinkedIn, etc. And to me, that's where your little sweet spot sits, that you can quickly do a video and send it in any of those platforms. But I know there's a couple of other products out there that do it. So when people say, well, why should I use Sendspark versus something else? What do you say?
Yeah. So the key thing we're focused on is personalization at scale. So with Cloud App, it's really nice when you're creating individual videos here and there, but we're focused on when are you sending 100 video or 100 emails that all need to be slightly personalized, but also have a lot in common with each other. And how do you make it super fast and seamless to be able to do that? And like you said, do it in the platforms you're already using to reach out to people, whether that's Gmail or LinkedIn or more of an automation platform like Outreach or HubSpot. And then how do you track it's working? And is the data going into your CRM, or are you getting, analytics on what's working with other people on your team? So that's really the key way we differentiate, is just focusing on that personalization at scale so that you're able to really have video as part of your sales process.
Yeah, great. And I know that you've got some clients like Salesforce, Microsoft, et cetera, and that's, who we help. We help people that are selling those platforms. Just give us a bit of an insight into what a typical Sendspark sales funnel looks like, or how does it integrate into it than, using text or audio?
Yeah. So typically, you can think of what are the emails you're already sending out, and would it be more effective to have a video in it? And that video is going to increase your reply rate anywhere from 30% to 300%. And so, we look at where are you currently having the lowest conversions, or where is it really, really critical that people convert? And then can that be a video step? And then it's really up to the customer whether we're saying to send an actually personalized video or to have it more automated into the process. Because sometimes, you're in a volume space and you need to send out thousands of emails. You cannot record personalized videos for any of them. And having a video is better than no video. Maybe it's an introduction of your product, of yourself, customer testimonial, something like that. And then other times we're working with super, super high touch sales processes where everything should be completely personalized. And, maybe you're reaching after 5 clients that is important. You know everything about them and you're recapping calls and conversations, and it's hyper personalized. And then there's everywhere in the middle. But it really just comes down to what are you already doing, and turn that existing email into a video email.
Yeah, well, look, for me, I used to send, a lot of next step emails, right? So one area that I've found to be great is, yes, I can, if they're interested in a particular product, I've got particular questions, I can then send them that video. And what I can do is, do a little personalization video to say, look, these are the key things we spoke about. Looking forward to the next call. And here's some of the things that we spoke about. And I can send those videos as, because for my, the way that I use it, you've got the personalization, like you said, but you've also got a library you can pick from. And with that library, are there other ways that you've seen people use, sort of like you said, standard videos? Have you seen some other ways that people have used that to improve their sales conversion?
Yeah, some typical standard videos are, either a customer testimonial from a customer, or even just yourself talking about how you've helped someone similar to that space. And then that can be really nice because as long as you're reaching out to someone in that space, it relates. And then we also use it for a lot of common questions. So we have videos of, what are the different ways to send videos in different email platforms, ready to go. So if someone reaches out and they're like, how do I send a video in HubSpot? We can immediately just respond with a video that's preset. And other types of, either frequently asked questions or even support questions. One thing that's cool about what you're doing is when you send a video recap after a call, you can be pretty confident it's going to be shared around the organization. So if there's other decision makers, it's a really nice way to put your pitch in your words, send it to the person you spoke to, but know it'll get circulated. And so I think that's a really critical part in the process too, because it can really, help move things forward.
Great. And, we were talking before we went live is that one of the barriers for me was just getting my video set up. So, I've finally got to the stage where I've got an okay camera, I've got my lighting, etc. But it was like, okay, I'm about to send an email. Oh, okay, the lighting's not right. It's just quicker for me to send a text, right? So you encouraged me to automate all that. So now I've got an app and I can't, what's it called? Let me just go to it. But I bought some devices on Amazon, and what's the app called? I'll have to take my glasses off. Meros, so MEROSS. So what I can do now is just quickly, just with my finger, turn on my camera, my key light, my backlight, and the strip you can see there. So I'm ready to go in virtually a second. But I found that is a bit of a barrier. I was like, and for me, I'm lucky, right? I don't have to worry about my hair. It's always the same. If I shave it every Sunday. But for you, what are some of the things where people are going, look, yeah, sometimes it's just easy to send a text message. I know I should send a video, but I'm just not prepared, or I don't like the camera, or whatever the excuses we come up with. What's some advice from your experience that you can share around that?
Yeah. I mean, it all comes to building a habit around video. And one thing I'll say too is like, your lighting looks great. Everything on your end looks fantastic, but it doesn't need to. Like, people are happy to get a video because it's a human thing. And you are your own harshest critic. Like, no one's judging your hair, your makeup as much as you judge yourself. But what I recommend people do, especially when they're starting up and they're just looking to build a habit, is say, pick one type of email that you normally send and make that your video email, where you will only send a video, and just get over the hurdle of it. So maybe it's a prospecting email. Maybe it's your recap after a call. Maybe it's a check-in that you always send like 2 weeks after you meet with someone, and force yourself to just send a video for a couple weeks. And then soon you'll realize like it's way easier than texting, and you're recording half the time because you're like, oh, I don't want to type. Like, come on, my hands, I've already typed a lot today. My wrists hurt. And you'll just start sending videos instead. But you have to get over that hump and build the habit around it first.
Right. And, video best practice, right? So I go to send something, should I put, what's the best subject line? Should I put text? Should I bullet point? Like, what are some tips that you've seen through all your experience of, what a great video email in particular would look like?
Yeah. Great question, because I think about this a lot. So you really want to think of it as being a micro funnel where you have something that's going to get the person to watch the video. So at Sendspark, we have the ability to write captions over videos, and you can even add someone's logo to it. And whether it's over the video or just in the email, like something to pique their interest, to say like, hey, come here, watch more. The actual video is kind of your chance to show as well as tell. So you kind of get double the attention for your effort, right? Where you're able to like point things out and just be a little bit more efficient than if you were to write a long email. And then you always want to follow it up with what's the next thing that you want, what's the call to action. So with Sendspark, you can add a link under your video. You might not have an ask, but usually you do. Otherwise, you wouldn't be spending your time sending out this email to begin with. So you always want it to make it very clear and concise. What should they do next? Yeah.
And should you call out in the subject line that it is a video? Because I know that some people, and the great thing is that it's got I'll say GIF, right? So the great thing is always wave, so people see in the video that it's waving, it's me. So, that really helps. But should you call out that it actually is a video, and should you mention how long it is? Because some people see a video and they go, oh, and I know you've got a timestamp on it, right? But sometimes people don't always see that. What's your views around that?
Yeah, we definitely recommend using the timestamp feature. We do have the ability to turn it off if you don't want to. But like, especially if your video is short, like less than a minute or 30 seconds, you should do it. And then I do recommend putting video in the subject line, even if it's just in parentheses. So maybe you're using your normal subject line and then parentheses video. Other times saying, I made you a video. I mean, you also have to remember like what is the value you're offering aside from the video, and having the video is a nice touch to amplify that. But like, if you're just like, I made you a video and it's a video, they're going to be like, well, why do I care? It's still about like, I made a video to show you value proposition. And so bringing that to the forefront is probably going to be the most important. But we ran a bunch of A/B tests like maybe a year ago, and just having video versus not video in either the subject line or that preview text. So 160 characters that show up in your preview. So having it there does help the open rate.
Yeah. And look, we've also been testing just a standard GIF in LinkedIn at the moment for outreach, for connection requests. And we've had about a 20-point jump by just having a GIF, with your waving, et cetera. And then you get into the video thereafter. We found that works well, because sometimes people aren't going to go straight into video sometimes. Some people will, some people won't. So what we do is, test. Yeah. We've been testing those, and that works well because it's nearly like you're bringing them on the journey, right? They get to see you first, the GIF, and then you go into a video reply thereafter. So that's warming them up. So that's worked really well for us. And as far as the analytics, right? So I've got at the moment, as soon as my team sort of watch it, and then they notify me in my sales CRM, which is Copper is what we use to certain actions that we need to do. But what is I know you've done a recent release of some updated analytics. Tell us a little bit about what we should be looking for and how to use the reporting.
Yeah, so we've built a lot of features around analytics lately, just to give you more insight, not just on the plays, the clicks, the views, but to give you more insight into what viewers are doing during their session. So you can now see if you send someone a video, how far into the video do they watch, a little bit more about them as well, like what device are they on, what browser are they using, so you can understand if maybe they're on mobile, and then you could even see maybe they watched it first on mobile, but then they went back, watched it again on their desktop, completed the video, and clicked the call to action. So you can get more of the full story behind your video. And then we've also added more integrations to make sure that we're sending that data to the right spot where you want it. So if you like to look at your reports, not in Sendspark, but in your CRM, you now have all that data in there. You just have to kind of add some tracking code. And then that's helpful too, because then you can set up more automation around it. Yes. So for example, if maybe you just have a wide volume of leads, you're not going to be recording personalized videos for each of them, but maybe you want to send everyone that customer testimonial video. Then now you can track who's clicking that video and watching that in the CRM, and then that can trigger tasks to now follow up with personalized videos. And you can just be a little bit more smart about how you spend your time.
Right. And can that integrate into a marketing automation tool? Like, for example, we use ActiveCampaign. Can that integrate into ActiveCampaign to trigger other emails?
We just built the integrations with Salesforce, HubSpot, and Zoho right now. But if you use one of those and then could send that data into ActiveCampaign, you could, and we're going to be adding a lot more. So if you ask them that question in 2 weeks.
And what about Zapier? Someone told me the other day that it is Zapier because it's happier. If you think happy, happier. So I'm like, because I always used to get confused, right?
I was like, Zapier. Cool. So that's another one that we're adding really soon. We're starting to just add a lot more integration sources.
Okay, brilliant. And look, so someone has, right? You've got the analytics, how should you follow up? What are some of the, like you said, it's not just about the video. The video is just a better way of communicating, but you still got to communicate, right? With your experience, what are you seeing as some great ways to follow up on someone? Because, I think the worst is I'm circling back or I'm following up. Everyone always sees those and goes, oh, here we go, a hard pitch. But, what are you seeing as some of the best ways to follow up when they have watched the video?
Yeah. So there's kind of 2 routes you can take. One is like the personalized video route of the focus is building a relationship. And then for that, it's more about, hey, I'm a person who'll be here with you. If you choose to go with us, you're going to have someone holding your hand the entire time, and you're focused on the relationship side. And for that, just having a personalized video of yourself, even if you talk, for 1 sentence and you're just introducing yourself and then sending along, it's super valuable because they see you. The other side of things is more about the product or what value you can deliver with video. And some really cool examples I've seen of that are like, website agencies who kind of show, hey, this is your website now, this is what we could do for you. Or an email company that shows like, hey, this is your spam right now, this is what we can do for you. And similar things like that. So you're like using the video to show the current situation and then the beautiful vision if they use your product. And I think that that's really, really beneficial when it applies to your business. But then it kind of just depends more on your product and what you're looking to sell. And if showing is really going to be the most effective way to get that point across.
Right. And what about, what you should use as the background, I suppose. So for me, for example, if I'm talking to someone, I always bring up their LinkedIn profile. Right, so I have their LinkedIn profile there. But what are some other examples of what you should have in the background if you don't want to go straight to camera?
Yeah, Again, it depends a little bit on your product. Like when website design companies use their website as the background, I think it works great because they're showing like, hey, look, this isn't totally responsive here. And this looks great. Like this is a great stop. You have it buried. Maybe you could bring more forward. Like look at this other website I did. And so they're kind of able to show more. One thing that we like to do at Sendspark too is showing so like data. So, for our like customer journey, we have a free tier and most of our actual outreach is going towards like product qualified leads that have signed up and, done something on the free tier. And so when we're able to show them data of like, or even show them like, hey, look, you're using Sendspark branding, but if you upgraded your account, it could look like this. And so when you're able to show the vision of like what the product could be, that I think is really cool as a background. But otherwise, even just using like your own website or a slide deck or something that like looks professional can be kind of cool.
Yeah, and I love that. And also, we found that being more specific, right? So if you actually are talking about an article or something they've written or a post or something on their website specific, bring that up. I think the more specific you can be. So if you're getting personalized, make sure you're personalized, right? I think
exactly.
Don't go generic when you're personalizing, right? Because as you said, people, I forget the quote around, morning, noon, and night. People only think about themselves. I think, who was it again? Anyway, it'll come to me. So, I think that's really important. That yes, the video is there, but the video is there to talk about them, right? Not to talk about.
That is very well said. And also about when you're personalizing it, making sure you're personalized. There's no point doing a video and then saying the exact same thing for every person. Like that could have just been automated. But when you're able to actually tie it into something that's, value or relevant to what they're working on, that's when you're going to have the biggest impact.
Yeah, great. And where do you see, sort of going? Like I know you're looking to talk about your full product development, but I know one of the reasons I'm using Sendspark is because you're constantly innovating. Like you said, you just upgraded your analytics, etc. But where do you see it going in the future? Will there be more AI introduced into the platform? Like give us a bit of a taste for what the future will be.
So the real focus is on personalization at scale. So how can we help you personalize what needs to be personalized, but reuse a lot of core content? So as we're building things out now, it's thinking if you are often sending the same part of your video, how do you reuse that chunk? I could also see different aspects for AI going into it, especially analyzing like previous videos and what types of messaging was really effective. And then helping other people on your team know how to structure their videos or future you structure your videos. So these are all kinds of things we're working on. Integrate more integrations in different places. It's really like, also automatically making your videos like look really nice and polished. We already do a lot here. But when you're saying, I had to get my lighting and stuff like set up, we're like, okay, but how do we just do this automatically? So you don't have to think, you don't have to even use another app. It just automatically makes it look the way you want to look. And our theory is the people using Sendspark should not be video editors. Like if you're a video editor, you can use a ton of tools. And, for us, it's really about conversational video. We just want you to communicate and we want to make sure it's always going to look good. It's going to help you deliver your message. It's going to have a high impact. And the less you have to think when doing that, the better. It should just happen automatically with Sendspark.
Right. Now, I've got to declare here that I've just ordered a new computer, a new Mac, because this one's approaching its 10th anniversary, right? And I've done everything possible to try to make it faster, but it's just done its dash. But I do know that sometimes, when you do the video and then it's got the loading and it, is it dependent upon the device or the internet speed, how long it takes to load the video, or is that similar no matter what you're using?
It's dependent on the device and your internet speed. But we are doing some stuff we're actually working on that right now as well to load multiple things at the same time. So it's faster, or at least that you like edit or do more while your video is loading. Because even though it only takes, a few seconds, the time adds up.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, it takes a little bit more with my machine. So it's also one of the reasons why I decided, hey, I just got to get a new machine. Other than that, rainbow spinning like every time I go to do something, I've got to shut it down every day and restart it. So I think It's time, right? It's time. Look, I could ask you lots of more questions, Bethany. You know, you can tell I'm excited about the product. I'm excited about the product, your product, but I'm more excited around the results that I'm getting by using video versus text. And like you said, you know, whether it's 30 to 300%, you know, you'll know that it'll definitely improve. And, you know, everywhere else in our lives, we're using more video. So why wouldn't we use it in the most important thing, which is, you know, some of our sales conversations? So, you know, I think it's a no-brainer. But what we'll do now is go into the sales deep dive, where I'll ask you some questions. You'll give me some nice short replies. So the first one is, what are some daily sales habits that you do to help you accelerate the sales for Sendspark?
So in addition to sending out tons and tons of videos,
correct.
Then I do a lot of things to try to save myself time. So I use Superhuman to like write shortcuts and use snippets and send reminders later. And just that's like the key thing I'm focusing on is always how can I be faster at doing nearly everything so that I can be personalized when it needs to and send out the videos. Superhuman has been my favorite recent purchase to just like insert calendar link, insert snippet, reply, like auto intro. So highly recommend.
Brilliant. Well, we'll that's covered the second question, so that's great. So this third question is, you know, what about for you guys? How are you getting more leads into your business?
Yeah, so we really focus on product-led growth. So for us, it's all about, we have a really great generous free plan. And then from that, that's where we really focus in the sales touch of like who's using the free plan, who's doing like high quality actions like inviting teammates or clicking on premium features, the launch and upgrade modal. And, you know, we kind of filter from the product, from the free users is how we start our kind of sales outreach approach.
Brilliant. And the last question is the big one, but you know, what's an action that we can take to 10x our sales after what you've given us today?
Yeah, I mean, I would say just start building the habit around video. It makes a huge difference. And even if you're just picking one type of message that you currently send out now and making that your video message and just focusing on, you know, every prospecting email I send out now is going to be a video until it becomes second nature, you're going to see that 10x result.
Yeah, that's brilliant. And I think you said it before, right? We think so much about ourselves, but really the people that are receiving the video, it's just a speck in their day, right? It's not something that they're going to overanalyze, right? What they'll do is say, oh, fantastic. This is someone that is different. They're not just sending me the standard script. They've actually taken time. They've done a bit of research. Oh, wow. Okay. I'm interested. And if you want to get that interest, definitely Sendspark is a great way of doing that. And Bethany's given a fantastic offer to everyone that's watching or listening to this now. So if you go to Sendspark, we'll put all the links in the show notes, but you go to Sendspark and you enter the code Accelerate Sales, that will give you 6 months. That's right, 6 months free. It's a brilliant offer. I really appreciate that, Bethany. And wonderful having you on today. And thank you for helping me improve my sales.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me.
I really love that interview with Bethany. You know, I think you can see the great success they've had as a product, but most importantly, you know, believe me, from my personal perspective, it's really helped with my sales conversion. And as she said, you can try it, get 6 months free. Just go to sendspark.com and enter Accelerate Sales. And that'll be in the show notes with all the other links will be in there as well. And why don't you give Bethany a shout out on your socials? Just mention her. I know she's got lots of followers on LinkedIn. But, you know, what's some actions that you've taken? Maybe you've taken up the offer and you've got the 6 months free. Give her a little bit of bit of love, a shout out, and share it on your socials. And if you've got 1, 10, maybe more friends that you think could do with more personalization of videos to improve their sales, please share it with them. They will consider you a rock star. And it's a good feeling to do something for someone else. So check out the solo shows as well at Accelerate Sales, and please take action to accelerate your sales to live a life of freedom.
I'm fired up after today's episode. What about you? But hey, before you go, learning is just one piece of the puzzle. Now it's time to put today's strategy into action. Head over now to today's show page at paulhigginsmentoring.com/podcast and share how you'll put it into action. Be sure to head over to your favorite podcast platform and subscribe, rate, and review the show. Tell me what your favorite episode is. And don't wait 1 minute more to gain access to your pulse check at paulhigginsmentoring.com. This could be the difference between struggling to get more leads and making this next quarter your best one yet.